What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So in today's video, guys, we are going to be talking about Manchester United's last game that we went and played, West Brom, at home, guys, at Old Trafford. Anyway, guys, let's just get into straight today's video. So we made two changes from the last game against Everton, talking about the starting 11. So we started with De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, Telles, Matic, Fred, Mata, Fernandes, Rashford and Martial. Getting into the overall reaction now. Fernandes penalty edges Man United past West Brom. Finally, Man United win at home. We got lucky. All that mattered was the 3 points. We got away with it last night. We were not perfect, but we need to improve. Well done, boys. Not a great performance last night. I will take that any day of the week. Up the fucking Reds. Let's fucking go. Win done. 3 points done. Clean sheet done. Anyway, guys, let's just get in straight into today's video. What did I make of the performance? I think you got to look at the performance as a whole, and I thought the performance last night was, I think it was not great to watch. I think it was not inspiring to watch, and we were not convincing to watch as well. I thought everyone looked at the opposition in West Brom and we thought they're in the relegation zone, they're struggling for form, we should be battering West Brom. And sometimes it's not always just about battering teams. If you look at Man City, they only just beat Arsenal a couple of weeks ago, only 1-0. It goes to show that sometimes if the performance is not pretty and it's all about, getting the 3 points and getting the victory and move on, really. That's what it felt like for us. I think it was not a pretty performance, but at the same time it's all about getting the 3 points and getting the victory. But our fan base looks at the opposition in West Brom. They've not won a game this season. They're in the relegation zone. They're on 3 points. They're struggling. And I think everyone expected United to batter West Brom. But I think it was the fact that some of our players came off international break. They were tired. Some of our players trained in the week as well. They would have time to get the fitness up and be more sharp. We'd expect a few good individual performances last night. There was a couple at the end of the day, but like I just said then, all that mattered was the 3 points. Games against like West Brom, like the lesser teams, you have to win them. I think that was also pleasing at the end of the day as well. But finally we have now won at home this season. Finally we don't have to talk about that once again. You've got to look at that performance as a whole. We got lucky. It was not a great performance, but we massively got away with it last night. Like, let's take for an example, we play Southampton next week. If we play like that, we would have probably got slaughtered by Southampton. I think it was important that in this game against West Brom it was all about get the 3 points and get the victory. West Brom will feel that they've been robbed, they've been done by, but that's football for you, and that's VAR coming to its best at the end of the day. It wasn't deserved, I think, the way our West Brom played. I thought they had a few good chances, but didn't take them. Like I said, it wasn't a great performance. We need to improve. Coming off international break, I think you expect sort of these type of performances after the international break. I mean, Chelsea were 1-0 up for the majority of the game against Newcastle and then managed to get a second just to hold them off. At the end of the day, it's not a good performance, but look at the bigger picture. You've got to get the win and you've got to have to get the 3 points. It's job done at the end of the day. I don't think it was deserved. We got the job done at the end of the day. We move on. At the end of the day, it's one of those games that we're not perfect, but we need to improve and we need to get better, definitely for sure. But all that matters is that get the win, get the 3 points, and finally United have won at home this season. Yeah, that's a positive, obviously. Getting into the game now, I thought first half, I thought we were not great. I thought we sort of started the game well. I think we controlled the game well and dominated the game well, but we were just not creating much, I feel like, and just a lack of productivity in the team. And I think the movement was a little bit off. We were not quick, we were not bright, and we were not there. So we were not. There was something that was lacking in the team for sure, and you could see it in the first half. And the first half wasn't pretty at all. We're not good enough in that first half, and I thought the first half was, I was going to say shite, but it wasn't that shite at the end of the day. I think you could say the word would be awful. Awful first half. It wasn't good enough. We created some good chances. Martial had 2 good chances and he should have scored them once again. We have these crucial moments in the game and we're not taking our chances. So I think we did have a couple of good chances, but we should have saw off the game in the first half if we would have took our chances. And then second half, I thought there was an improvement. I thought we played a little bit better, quick incisive. There was a quick incisive football in times. I thought the movement was a little bit better in the second half. I thought we were moving quicker. We were a little bit more sharp, but we did play with a little bit more energy. We did play with intensity and tempo in times, but we sort of slowed down that transition as well. And, I thought West Brom will feel that they've done hard. West Brom will think, that would have been a good performance against us, but they've been done by us because they've got done by VAR. But that's football. That's VAR coming to its best. And I thought West Brom put on a good fight. I knew myself that they'll put on a good fight because they know coming to Old Trafford, most of those players that play out on the pitch for any other team, they know it's a dream to play at Old Trafford. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it was not a good performance, but West Brom put up a fight. They had a few good chances in the second half as well themselves. Didn't take them, and the chances didn't come for West Brom. And I think West Brom at the end of the day, they were not good enough, and neither were us. And what it was is with us as well. It was one of those games where we thought we need to win this game, but at the same time we don't want to lose this game. So that's how it felt like as well. And we were just taking our time too much, and it was not like we were on it from minute 1 to minute 90. We were just taking our time and too sloppy in times, and we made a couple of mistakes in times, and that's where we've got to improve this team as well. And you're not always going to get away with results like that as well. And with a team like West Brom that are in shit form right now, which they are unfortunately, and I do feel for them, you would get away with that against West Brom. But any other team like Southampton, Liverpool, Leicester, Tottenham, you would not get away with that for sure, because you wouldn't. And we got slaughtered by Tottenham 6-1, and you won't get away with that all the time. But we definitely got away with it against West Brom. But we have to improve, and we have to get better. And what I liked about West Brom was what they were doing with the ball as well. They were shifting it out pretty quick out onto the left, because they knew there was a lot of threat down on that left-hand side by United with Telles and Rashford. So they're trying to put them under threat. But they both recovered well, and they did the job, not only just defensively, but also Rashford being an attacker as well, did well as well there. But then they shifted the ball too slow onto the right. And if I was West Brom, I would have looked at the weaknesses in our team, and the weaknesses, Juan Mata, I think he's too slow, and sometimes they were trying to put the low ball in between the centre backs all the time as well, because they know that that's a weakness, and they know that both of our defenders don't have a lot of pace. They're both too slow as well. So that's what they were trying to do as well, West Brom, and that's a very good tactic by West Brom, but unfortunately it just didn't pay off. I thought David Hay made some brilliant saves in times as well to keep us into the game, and like I said, we are not going to get away with that. But like I said again, and I'll say it again, we will not get away with that against any other team. We might get away with it against West Brom because they're shit. And if you ask any other West Brom fan, I'm sure they will say, the shit as well. So at the end of the day, a win is a win, and we've got the 3 points. And obviously Bruno scored the penalty that got us the victory, and we'll talk about a little bit more about the penalty drama later into this video as well. After a dodgy, rusty and edgy performance against West Brom last night, sometimes it's all about getting the 3 points and winning the game, but at the same time it's acceptable to say we're coming off the international break. Some players would have put in some fantastic individual performances in, but some will be tired. After our first win at home this season, do we expect more from these players? And at the end of the day, we need to perform a lot better against the tougher games coming ahead. Of course, we do expect more from these players. At the end of the day, we know that at the end of the day, we are not going to get away with that against any other team. I think the teams in the relegation zone, you would get away with that massively, and that's the likes of West Brom, Fulham, whoever else is down there. Games like West Brom and Fulham, you would get away with that. But if it was any other team out there, like our next game against Southampton, they would tear us fucking apart. Of course we do expect more from these players. we obviously need to improve. We can sort of build on this performance against West Brom, and we know it wasn't a perfect result, but we do expect more from these players. We know that we can put in better performances than that. If you pick out a few good performances, the likes of Leipzig, PSG, talking about in the league as well, you look at games like maybe Everton as well. There are some good performances in there, but at the same time we're putting some real shit ones as well. Wasn't a good performance, but we got the win, we got the 3 points. It was the job done, but we need to improve, and that's what we need to do. We need to expect more from these players. People are going all about Ollie out after one game. I mean, what are you going on about with Ollie out? If you've won a game and got the 3 points, what would you rather do? Would you want Ollie out, or would you want the 3 points, a clean sheet and a win? You want all 3 of them, except just to get rid of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer after one game against West Brom. Because our fan base look at that game last night and they think, oh yeah, they're shit. We should have been smashing them 4-5-0. But at the end of the day, a win is a win. Take it. I mean, Ollie out is ridiculous. Definitely, we're going to have some tougher games coming up ahead. We've got the likes of Southampton coming up. We've got City coming up as well next month. We've got some tough games coming up, and we know it ourselves. It's not only just them though. We've got Leeds United coming up as well, and we know that they always put up a good fight as well. With us and Leeds being rivals, you never know what's going to happen in these type of games. That's why United need to perform and turn up to games, and we've got to perform for a full 90 minutes. Yesterday we didn't do that, but we got away with it. You're not always going to get away with it, unfortunately. Last night we got away with it definitely against West Brom, and we definitely need to perform a lot better against our tougher games coming up ahead. We've got some tough fixtures coming up. We've got Southampton coming up next on the weekend, and we've got to improve. And you're not always going to get away with that, unfortunately. And it's important to get the victory under our belt in the week against Istanbul Basaksehir. Look forward then to the weekend. First, let's look forward to the one in the week, and then Southampton will come. We have to perform a lot better, and we do expect a lot more from these players, and we're not always going to get away with it, unfortunately. Finally, we don't need to talk about United's home record anymore. It's taken 5 games at home to get our first win at Old Trafford this season. All we know is to be more clinical and be more consistent. Yeah, of course, I mean, you've got Matic coming out in his interview yesterday saying that, you know, we need to be more clinical and we need to be more consistent. And in games like coming up now, it's no good winning a game, then drawing a game, then losing a game, and then winning a game, drawing, losing. And we can't have that this season, where we know that this league is anybody's this year, with no fans in the stadiums as well, especially. We know we have to be more consistent this season, never mind about saying, oh yeah, we're going to win this game on the week and then we're going to lose it on the weekend. We need to be more consistent. They always say the key is to be more consistent, and we have to be more consistent. And the reason why we need to be more consistent is because, first off, we have to be more consistent, and also because we know that this is Manchester United. We should be more consistent, never mind about losing games. You've got to really give it 110% in every single game. But what it is with Manchester United is we get too carried away after one result. We make 2 steps forward and then we lose a game and then we go 2 steps backwards. So whereas we need to be winning games constantly. Like if you take a team like Liverpool, they're always consistent in their results, and we've got to be more consistent this season, never mind about winning, losing, drawing. Got to be winning every single game, and that's why you need the mentality side of things to be perfect on the day. And the players have got to turn up, and we need to be more clinical as well as especially. We need to be more consistent. We have to be at the end of the day. In my own opinion, was it a penalty for West Brom, or was it the right decision not to give it? I think at the end of the day, as a Manchester United fan, there was a lot of United fans saying it wasn't a penalty. In my own opinion, was it a penalty for West Brom, or was it the right decision not to give it? You know what, there was a lot of Man United fans out there saying that it was a penalty. But how I see it is, it's the first angle that we all see it from. And that's where you have it from. When the games have been on and you look at that first angle, it looks awful and you think that's a penalty. But then it's all about, you've got to get all the different angles on it. Does he get the ball? Does he not get the ball? Unfortunately, Bruno just gets the ball before there's contact made. People look at it as the follow through, but I think you've got to think about, does he get the ball? He gets the ball, and it was right not to give it, and that's VAR coming to its best once again, not giving the penalty, and then goes up on the other end, gives us a penalty because it was a handball. Clear handball for me. He tucked his arm in, and definitely it's a handball, definitely. Who is my man of the match? My man of the match has to be that man, Bruno Fernandes. Saved us once again, and we're not always going to get away with it. But thank you to Bruno Fernandes. He's my man of the match. How do we beat Southampton? Now, obviously, Southampton are a brilliant team. I I'll tell you what, Southampton are doing bits, and I've said this time and time again about Southampton. They always do well, and with Ralph Hasenhüttl, he's doing well. He's got the players playing to his system, and they're playing some fantastic football, and they want to keep that up. They know that they've got some big fixtures coming up now. They've got Wolves tomorrow night, so we don't know what's going to happen in that game tomorrow. So it's all about, if Southampton win that game, they'll be up on a high. If they lose it, they'll be low on confidence, and they'll want to, put it right in. They'll want to put it right in the week in training, and then go out against us and put it right and win at home. So if they lose, we have got to fucking turn up on Sunday. Never mind about thinking about losing the game. So if they lose, if somehow or some way Southampton lose to Wolves tomorrow, they'll be low on confidence. Do not let this Southampton team fuck us up and turn us over. We have got to turn up to this game against Southampton, because Southampton, they'll want to put it right if they lose. So we cannot afford to lose this game. This is a game where we need the 3 points. And, in this fixture last year, we drew it, and, twice last season we dropped points to Southampton, and we can't be dropping points to them this time round. And you know what? Southampton are a great team. No disrespect to them, they're a great team. They're a fantastic team. They're well set up. They've got some fantastic players. They've got some quality players out there. But they'll miss Danny Ings for this one. He's going to be out injured as well. So their star man, Danny Ings, is not fit. But I mean, at the end of the day, they've got the squad depth there. You don't want to write this team off. They'll come into this game. They'll give it absolutely 110%. From minute 1 to minute 90, they'll fight. They'll play for passion, pride. They'll fight from minute 1 to minute 90, and they know that 3 points are at stake here, and we know that as well. But the way how you have to beat Southampton, they're a team like Liverpool, but what Liverpool do is they have always a player in position if someone's out of position, and Southampton can't do that, unfortunately. But what you have to do is with Southampton is you have to stretch this team out. Never mind about going too narrow or anything like that. You have got to stretch this team out wide, get the ball out wide a lot. And sometimes at United we go with this 4-2-3-1 and we play it too narrow, we play it too open, and sometimes we don't put the ball out wide. And that's where you've got to stretch out this Southampton team. You've got to stretch them out left, right and centre. And it's important to make those runs in from behind, and it's important to stretch them out at all times. And that's where you're urging Wan-Bissaka and either Brandon Williams or Alex Telles playing out on the left to push out as wingers, get the ball high up the pitch, push the fullbacks back. You've got to push them back, and they like to play with the 4-4-2 as well. So you have to really push back Redmond and their left back, and then you've got to do the same thing on the right hand side as well. And I mean, it's going to be a tough game against Southampton. They've always been up for a fight against us. We drew to these twice last season, and I think I don't think it's the matter of we need to get revenge on them. I think it's the matter of fact, we have to win this game. It's a must win against Southampton. I like Southampton, but like I said, we have to stretch this team out. We need to take our chances, score in our chances, we need to get some low and hard crosses into the box. You have to stretch this team out wide, and we need to play with intent, we need to play with energy, and we're going to have to try and maintain that for the rest of the game, for the rest of the 90 minutes, and keep that up. Don't take your eye off the ball. If you take your eye off the ball and a little bit of a blip or a mistake, they'll want to capitalise on it and they'll try and score on it. So we've got to be switched on at all times. I think defensively we need to be a unit at the back. We can't switch off. We've got to be on it from minute 1 to minute 90. We've got to prepare well for this, not only just physically but mentally as well. And it's the mindset as well that we need to put right for this game as well. So if we get a win against Southampton, it'll be an important 3 points for us, and we'll be looking good in terms of the table and putting the pressure onto the other teams around us. But if we can get past this hurdle against Southampton, we're on to bring on the fixtures for the rest of the season, and we know that we're up for these good games against like Southamptons and your Evertons and your Cities, your Leeds Uniteds. We just need to put in a good performance against these lot, and I'm sure we'll get them out of the way. But we need to stretch this team out, and we're just going to have to give it absolutely 110%, turn up to this game, and we can't make a mistake. We've got to keep our, we've got to, make sure that we can try and control and dominate that game, and make sure that, Southampton, don't let Southampton into the game as well. So, they've got some good tactics there on the table, but we've got to take advantage, and let's try and get the win against Southampton. They'll be tough, they'll be difficult. They've got the quality players there, but we need to beat them at the end of the day. Let's give it absolutely 110% against them. Anyway, now getting into the goal. First goal, Bruno steps up and scores a nice composed penalty for 1-0. Getting into the stats now, possession for Man United, it was 63.1%, and for West Brom it was 36.9%. Goals for United, it was 1, and for West Brom it was 0. Total shots for Man United, it was 17, and for West Brom it was 7. Shots on target for Man United, it was 7, and for West Brom it was 2. Shot accuracy for Man United, it was 41.2%, and for West Brom it was 28.6%. Shots inside the box for Man United, it was 11, and for West Brom it was 6. Shots outside the box for Man United, it was 6, and for West Brom it was 1. Total passes for Man United, it was 663 passes, and for West Brom it was 385 passes. The pass accuracy for Man United, it was 84.8%, and for West Brom it was 77.9%. Getting into the substitutions now, Mata went off for Cavani, talking about Juan's performance. Too passive too often in the first half, but his cross was handled and earned United a penalty, made way for Cavani on the hour. Rashford went off for Van der Beek, talking about Rashford's performance. Rusty after coming off from injury and wasted a great opportunity to all but kill the game in the second half. Fred went off for McTominay, talking about Fred's performance, tidy enough with the ball and tried to get United on the attack, but rarely played a memorable pass. Next up, we've got Southampton. Southampton are 5th in the table. Like I said about Southampton, they're a great team, got a great manager, they're well set out. He's got some fantastic players, Ralph Hasenhuttl. You don't want to write these off. We've got to be on it all times, and we've got to turn up to this one against Southampton. They're a great team, got a lot of quality players in there, and you don't want to write them off. That's all I'm saying. And for United, a message to United, turn up to this one against Southampton, because you've got to give it absolutely 110% against this team. They give it absolutely everything. They fight, passion, pride. They play for that badge, they play for that club, and Southampton know what's at stake here. And so far, they're the current informed team. To be one of the informed teams will be massive, and a big result for Man United especially as well. They've been beaten by 2 teams, and that was Crystal Palace and Tottenham. Really, Tottenham are the only top 6 team that have only beaten Southampton so far this season. Let's put United next to this. We need to put in a good performance against Southampton. We need to improve after yesterday. But you know what, looking forward to this game against Southampton. We have to give it everything. We need to turn up to this one. Southampton will absolutely give it everything themselves. Looking forward to a good game. We need to get the win, get the 3 points. We'll be looking forward of putting the pressure on the other teams around us as well at the end of the day. So far, Southampton are scoring 2 goals per game. So far, Southampton have conceded 1.5 goals per game. Southampton have the 11th worst defence in the league. Southampton have won 5, drawn 1 and lost 2. They have lost to Crystal Palace 1-0 away from home, and they've also lost at home to Tottenham 5-2. Southampton are the current informed team. The last time Man United beat Southampton was on Saturday the 2nd of March 2019, and it ended 3-2 to United. What a game that was. The last time Man United lost to Southampton was on Saturday the 23rd of January 2016, and it ended 1-0 to Southampton, not beaten us in 4 years. The players to look out for is Walker-Peters, Bertrand, Vestergaard, Stevens, Valerie, Romeu, Ward-Prowse, Redmond, Armstrong, Long, Adams, Obafemi and Walcott. Hope you guys are enjoying the video. Be sure to leave a like. Subscribe to my channel if you are new. See you guys in a video in the next couple of days, and peace.